Hey guys, Rob here with McDojoLife, and I'm a little under the weather, but guess what? The news doesn't stop just because you get a little sick. So we push forward. In today's McDojo news, we're going to talk about a martial arts instructor who's up on charges for attempted murder and arson, but also has a long rap sheet and history of being just a terrible human being. Let's check out the story. The Broome County Special Investigation Unit Task Force conducted an investigation into an arson for hire case in Broome County. During the investigation, it was determined that 50-year-old David Rexer, who was a resident of Endicott, was found to have conspired with another person to commit arson on an occupied dwelling inside village of Endicott. David Rexer is accused of conspiring with another person to set fire to an occupied home in the village. He is being charged with attempted murder in the second degree, which is a Class A1 felony, conspiracy in the second degree, a Class B felony, attempted arson in the second degree, a Class C felony, and conspiracy in the fourth degree, a Class E felony. Rexer was sent to Central Assignment and Processing to be arraigned and is currently being held at the Broome County Sheriff's Correctional Facility. Now, normally, that's a really short news story for what we usually cover. But it gets even crazier because I started digging and I found all kinds of stuff that makes the plot thicken. It turns out, as I started digging even more into who this person was, I found out he's been a scumbag for a really long time. I started typing in his name into Google and started trying to see what I can come up with, and I found his name on a website you definitely don't ever want your name to appear on. That website is called thetruthaboutmartialarts.weebly.com. This website has archives of martial artists doing terrible things that date back all the way back to 1983. And while the website doesn't cover everything, it definitely is a very large list of people who have done wrongdoings in the martial arts industry. According to the website, which states multiple sources to confirm the truth here, he was accused and convicted of raping a 16-year-old girl who was an employee at his facility. According to the sources listed, he pled guilty in 2012 to third-degree rape and was given 5 years of probation. At that time, he was released on his own recognizance. Now, you would think those two things are pretty bad, but he actually has a few other things to add to the list. Apparently, in 2012, the same year that he pled guilty to raping a 16-year-old girl who was an employee of his at the time, he also committed welfare fraud and was brought up on charges for that as well. Apparently, he had over $3,500 worth of food stamps that he wasn't entitled to and also failed to report his income. Now, all of those things were just things that I managed to dig up. I'm sure there's probably more, I'm just assuming, but what I really found disturbing was what was kind of in plain sight already. I mean, the man did run a martial arts academy, and I wanted to see a little bit more about what his martial arts academy and the reviews and things like that had to say. I mean, you figured that if a man who owned a martial arts academy had committed rape and pled guilty to rape, then it would probably be all over their reviews, you would assume. But we would be wrong in assuming that. I only found 3 Google reviews. 2 of those happen to be 5-star reviews, and here's what they had to say. Just great. Rexer is the best instructor. Place has everything. Karate, a full fitness room, dance, Zumba, samurai sword classes. Wow. It also just happens to have a convicted rapist teaching classes, but let's go to the next review. This place is great for our basketball players. It has everything an inspiring athlete needs to get in shape. I mean, yeah, if you spend your entire time running from the rapist, you probably have great cardio. Now, there was one 1-star review out of the 3 reviews on their Google, but unfortunately, nothing was written on there, so it's not like exactly a warning to other people like, yo, dude, this guy has done some really messed up stuff, probably shouldn't bring your kids here kind of thing, you know? But I found the ultimate irony here was actually on their website itself. Let's check that out. When you click on their services tab on their website, this pops up. And when you start scrolling down that page a little bit, you'll see a little information about their martial arts program. I want to read you a little excerpt from that description of their martial arts program. Through proper training, one can achieve any or all of the following. Harmony of mind and body. Whose body? Like you or the 16-year-old kid you molested? Improved concentration. Too bad he was too busy paying attention to a 16-year-old kid and not paying attention to his taxes. Self-discipline, self-esteem, self-control, and self-confidence. This man clearly has none of those qualities at all. Weight control. Now, we all have our ups and downs when it comes to the sandwiches, all right? Myself included. I do like a good sandwich, and sometimes we go a little overboard on the snacking. But this guy, come on, he's not the poster child either. Reduction of stress. I mean, what could be more stressful than your entire business closing because you're a human piece of garbage who molests kids and now you tried to kill someone in an arson for hire hit? It's so weird that these people are in this industry. So let's dissect. Clearly, this man is unhinged. He has a lot of issues, a lot of them. Not just like one, but he's got like them stacked right on top of each other, like some type of insane game of Jenga where it's in reverse. But rather than trying to take away issues, he's adding them to this weird tower of psycho. And if you were just some random person off the street and you were bringing your child to this facility and you looked on the surface, you might not know any of this craziness that this dude's done. You might not know about any of the fraud. You might not know about any of the rape. You might not know about the fact that this dude just tried to commit arson with people still in the building. You might not know that stuff. As a matter of fact, if you looked on the surface, he's got 2 great reviews sitting right there on the Google, and the only bad review is just a 1-star review that's got nothing written on it. Maybe we should stop just complaining in comment sections online. Maybe we should start leaving those reviews with links to proof, like we clearly have of this man. He's got a trail and a history of news reports and articles and websites that all speak out against him, and yet no one took the time to actually drop any of that information in a review. I'm not telling you to slander or libel. I'm not telling you to commit some type of defamation of character. I never have. But if you have hardcore proof and a link to that proof and evidence that you could show students, potential students of somebody like this, you should leave them. You should leave them for people to see, so that way other people don't get victimized by these human pieces of crap. People often ask me, Rob, what is it that we can do to try to combat and fight this? The only thing you can really do is literally just spread the honest truth. Spread that information so that way potential students are aware of what they're about to get themselves into or what potential clients are about to get their kids into. If you've been around this page long enough, you know that I'm not going to run out of these stories anytime soon. And that saddens me. The truth is, I would love to be out of a job. I would love it. If I was out of a job tomorrow, it'd be great. That means I did my job right. But the only way I can do my job is if I can affect you enough to want to do something about it too. We bitch and moan about the stupid, pettiest shit in martial arts. We complain about how long it takes to get a belt. Who gives a shit? We complain about how old someone is before they get a black belt. We complain about prices. We complain about all these things that are very subjective. But then when it comes down to things like this, like rape and fraud, people just kind of ignore it because they'd rather complain about the things that don't matter. We, as a community, have the opportunity to do something. And all we really need to do is just take that information and give it to people so that way they're aware of those facts. Not everybody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I've fucked up. Everybody's fucked up. We all make mistakes. But when it comes down to the rules of the page, when it comes down to literal fraud, when it comes down to trying to murder someone, when it comes down to rape, those kind of things are not forgivable things in terms of trying to be somebody who is, I guess you could say, a role model for children. It's not. It's not something that we can just be like, well, you know, he raped somebody that one time. Nope. Not going to get better. The guy has a problem, man. Now, the silver lining at the end of the story is, yes, his facility is permanently closed. Thank goodness. But with that said, he's a dime a dozen, man. I could pull one of these stories out every day. And if I pull out one of these stories every day, it'd be very depressing around here. But the fact remains that I can. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to do more of these stories and try to cover more of these as often as I can, so that way you guys are aware of just how bad these problems and issues really are. This is no longer something that's a small problem, and I don't think it ever really has been. I just think that us as a community have been ignoring it because we've been too busy complaining about things that don't matter. This matters. We could do something about this. But with all that said, I'd be very curious what you guys have to think about this in the comment sections below. I want to say thank you for all the likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, and all that other crap people online tell you to do. Keep the martial arts legit.
My baby got robbed the other day by degenerates. So she wanted to learn some new form of this self-defense. So she did her research and perused it online and found this dude said he could move shit with his mind. He called himself Seafood Paul Zimmerman. He got a dojo with a strip mall near Cinnabon. Now she spends all day trying to break